one, like this car is a 2004, so it's old, but for a grand touring car for me to daily drive, it handles phenomenal, and everything is it's just a good car to drive. Like, I'm just like, wow, this thing's old and it's this good. Imagine what some of the newer cars are like. I mean, it's kind of neat. Sorry about my camera mount. It's clipped onto the mirror, so these are backcountry roads. My old commute was interstate. Well, I originally got the car. My new commute is all backcountry farm highways, so some of the speeds are higher, which is nice, but it's just open roads, some curves. The car's great for it. I mean, the car is great for the interstate, but it's just great for this type of driving too. The drive is one of the best parts of my days now. So. Okay, right now the engine is idling. I'm going to go over some of the things in the car that I like, that I don't like. Big thing, you got these controls right here. Your window switches are right here. This is your S and W. S is for summer, W is for winter wet. What it does is in summer, in dry conditions, you take off normally. In W, it takes off in second gear so you don't spin your tires. It's a pretty nice feature. There's your heated seats. Most of these cars, the heated seat does not work on the driver's side due to thin wires in the seats. My car, the heated seat does not work, and it's only when I got it, it had 26,000 miles, and the heated seat did not work. The passenger seat, heated seat does work. Wing up and down, traction control, hazards, something with the line. I don't know. These ones I honestly never used. You do got passenger and your drivers and passenger side. I did replace the radio. If you're going to get one, I would go with the non-standard model. The premium has the Infinity sound system, which I took out the radio, but it has an amp underneath the passenger footboard, the components front and rear, and then components front, and the rear has two 6.5-inch subwoofers in isobaric loaded configuration. It actually sounds pretty good. I can't play it because all the music's copyrighted, and I did change the head unit though, because I wanted Apple CarPlay, so I added one of those nifty old school style, flip up screen. It works pretty good. What else in here? The cup holder. You do get mail over there. Like, I literally just got back from work. This is the original cup holder. Pops up. It's kind of goofy. Nothing really fits in it. So I put on one of these, slides in between the seat. That's in there. You do have a nice little coin holder right there. Pretty good sized glove box. And then a big trunk in the back. You've got the old style cruise control stick, which I love. I mean, you don't have to turn it on, you don't have to turn it off. You can see I've got a steering wheel cover. My steering wheel, if I can get close up here maybe, you can see. Sorry about this camera. There we go. Sorry about that. But the leather, it was light gray. It's a 2004. I only got it with 26,000 miles, but it had been used a lot. So the steering wheel was slightly dirty. I mean, you can see right there. Passenger seat, you can see the leather. It's nice. Mine's like a light gray. My driver's seat, even when I got it, it had a little bit of bolster wear on it. Nothing bad. That's why if you look down now, I've got a seat cover. Just a cheap one, because I'm in and out, in and out, in and out. You've also got a nice center console right there. Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Okay, hopefully you can see me. This is the part 2 of the cheap, fast, and reliable Crossfire. Currently, I have put over 25,000 miles on this thing in the last couple years. 0 issues, like I said. The biggest issue has been when I bought it, it had the original tires with only 20,000 miles on them. The tires were hard as hockey pucks. Horrible, made the car just drive horribly. So that's one of those things that you're gonna have to figure on getting new tires, more than likely, if it's all original. If you find one, if it's all original, you're gonna need new tires. The brakes, mine had original brakes. The old brake pads, I would drive one day and my front rims would be black with brake dust. I swapped out, I put new brakes on it. You know, that was a couple $100. Did the work myself. It's not that hard to work on this car. Everything else I have not had any issues with. It's just been a great car. The tires, I got they're Continental. Let me go see. I'm trying to remember what they are. They are the Sport Plus Continental. They're all season tire. I was gonna go with summer tires only because I'm only driving this in the summer, but I wanted to have great weather capability, so like rain and things like that. And then sometimes we get freak snowstorms, even before they salt the roads out here. So these tires have little I think it's either S's or W, something in the pattern. Yeah, I think it's like S's. So that's for snow. As long as that little S is still in your pattern on the tread, you can drive them in the snow. And then when that wears away, the next one in line is the W for wet. And then when that's gone, then it is only summer tire, more or less, for dry weather. Okay, apologize about the lack of cleanliness in the engine though, but it is my daily driver. The car needs a wash bad. It's been really wet weather here. But oil filter right there, very easy to get. It's a cartridge fleece filter. I think the brand is MAHN, M-A-H-N, German. Buy the real one. There's counterfeits on eBay and Amazon, so just believe it or not, I went to the local O'Reilly's or whatever local parts place. They had the filter. This V6 that's in here is one of Mercedes' most reliable engines. Parts are readily, you can get them everywhere. It holds 10 quarts of synthetic Mobil 1. It's a low car. I don't have jacks. Going on the forums, I bought an oil extractor. I do the oil changes myself. You're good for 10,000 miles. There's a dipstick. Drop the pump in there, pump it out. I mean, it maybe leaves an ounce in there. It works so good. Other things in here, the headlights. You can see them. Mine are nice and shiny. When I got the car, they were not. I bought a polishing kit and I polished them, and it made a world of difference because the car looked a little tired when I first got it. Now it's great. Like I said, I did put LED bulbs in there. It's just a preference. I do a lot of night drive. I used to do a lot of night driving, early morning. I put the LED bulbs in there. The only thing you got to realize, if you do that, they work fine. They draw less power, so the electrical system in this old car doesn't know what to do, so your bulb, it'll give you the signal that the headlights are burned out, the bulb light, but it's actually just because they're not drawing any power. So keep that in mind, but they do work. And then you've got the fog lights and everything too, so. Okay, probably one of the best views of this car is the rear end, but pretty cool thing. This is the spoiler. It retracts. It automatically pops up when you hit 65, and then when you slow down to 45, it comes back down. Or whenever you hit the button, it'll go up and down. So you could, but if you go watch the video, I have it go up and down a couple times from the inside. You can see it. I had the camera mounted to the rearview mirror. It's pretty neat. It's kind of it never gets old. It's kind of a fun thing when you're driving, Especially if you're on the interstate and stuff like that. On ramps and things like that, because you get on the interstate, pops up, you slow down and get off, pops down. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But and then you've got a release button right here, and this is your hatch. And believe it or not, it's pretty roomy. I put in my backpack for work, my lunchbox, everything fits in there very good. I've got my my go bag. I keep that in there. You know, it's got a fire extinguisher, it's got everything in there. Because I used to drive 60 miles one way. Now I have a very short drive, but I figure why not leave it in there. I'm gonna get the camera a little closer, you can actually see in here. There's no spare in here. Underneath the floor, it comes with the little mini air compressor, and it comes with a can of Fix-A-Flat that's 15 years old. Probably that's no good, so just keep that in mind. You're probably gonna need a AAA or something because there is no spare tire in this. Not sure if you can see that. Okay, sorry about shaky camera, but okay, there you go. You got your jack, there's the air compressor, some kind of can of Fix-A-Flat, and then you got a storage cubby down there, and that's your trunk. So it's one of those things. Would I recommend this car? Absolutely. Like I said, I put over 25,000 miles on this thing. I drive it every day, except for the dead of winter. I didn't drive it at all in the winter, honestly, but fun. Like it makes the drive so much better. It's good knowing that I did not pay a lot of money for this car. It's good knowing that it starts, it's reliable. I never felt like it's going to let me down. Like I did say, it was fun. The other interesting thing, when you go get gas, like people look at this car and they're like, wow, you know, like people don't know what it is. I had at my previous employer, it was during COVID, we were having salary reductions. Everybody got reduced like 10%, and that's right when I bought this. And like that week I came rolling in to work with this, and some guy was like, oh my God, you bought a new sports car. Jesus, you know, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, dude, I paid $7,500 for it. Chill, you know. I got rid of my expensive car that I was putting a lot of miles on. And he was just like in shock, like he couldn't believe that this was, you know, almost 20-year-old car. I might have said this before, but the one thing that always gets me is this car is almost 20 years old, and when you drive it, you're like, wow, it handles well. Performance is good enough. It's not, you know, there's so much that are faster, better, but I mean, it's pretty darn good. I would say daily driving, you know, I'm a little bit aggressive. I like to zip through traffic. You know, speed to the speed limit, more or less. Maybe 1% of the cars that I try to get around they don't want me to get around them. I would say maybe 1% of people I can't get around, and it's usually some exotic car, a Corvette or something, you know, like a, you know, Mercedes Corvette, some high-end new. Other than that, you know, like a turbo diesel pickup trucks, they're always in a hurry to get in front of you to slow down. No problem, I get around them. You know, it's just, that's enjoyable right there. As I was saying, you know, you're not gonna win speed races in this thing, but I mean, it's, you know, if you like to get around traffic, you know, slow moving people, you know, you gotta zip around traffic. This is plenty fast. Previous cars that I've owned, C5 Corvette, Porsche 944 Turbo, WRX, and I used to think my WRX was the most fun car I've ever owned. This is pretty darn close, because the WRX I had a wagon, and this is semi-exotic, kind of sportier looking, so you have that and then, you know, the flip-up spoiler. It's just kind of a fun drive. Like my current commute is just out in the middle of the country roads for, you know, 20 minutes, and it's just fun. I know a lot of reviews said this car is not a true sports car. I would rank it more as a grand touring car. Mine's automatic. I kind of wish I had the stick shift, but it's an automatic. I will add that as a negative. It's a 5-speed, so a lot of the newer cars with the 8-speed automatics, they're more fun to drive. But this, it could be more fun with that. So if you're looking for something cheap, fast, and reliable, this is probably as good as you're going to get right now. when I bought this car a couple years ago, they were still cheap. I mean, even if you look now, they're still really cheap. You can get this in a supercharged version, the SRT6. Big difference on that, a supercharger obviously, more horsepower. It has a fixed spoiler in the back and different wheels and some little tidbits that make it a little bit better. I didn't want to get one of those because as a daily driver, I was putting a lot of miles. I kind of wish I did, but at the same time, I like the flip-up spoiler. I like the ease of working on it and the cost. All the ones I looked at, the supercharged ones, if I would have got the same miles for $7,500, I would have got over 100,000 miles for the supercharged one. The supercharged ones, there's not as many, so the prices are starting to rise on those. You know, it kind of depends on what you're looking for, but for a bargain base, I will say too, I used to have a 944 non-turbo. This is a lot more fun, a lot faster. The non-turbo Porsche was, it was not so bad, but it was not the fastest, not the most fun, and it handled good. But I mean, this is just a little. To me, this is just nicer to drive. I did have a Solstice. I bought a new Solstice, nicknamed it the Slowstice. I call it the slowstice. If you get the non-turbo, the GXP Solstice, they're pretty slow. This at least, when I take off, like at a light, like I literally feel myself sinking back in the seat on this. It's interesting. My wife has a Hyundai Kona with a turbo in it, and driving that, I'm like, wow, this thing's peppy. It feels like my WRX, and I thought that felt faster than this. And then we were at a stoplight, side by side, kind of just joking around, and you know, we were gonna race to the speed limit, and this thing just blew it away. Like, I was surprised. I was like, holy crap, you know. And then I thought it was maybe my wife's driving, and then there's another young guy in town that has one, and you know, that's another negative. If you're in town or and you go to stoplights, younger kids with like sporty fast, they're gonna want to like see what you got, you know. So I always tell them I'll race them to the speed limit, but that's about it. But and this thing usually wins, believe it or not. It's kind of it's impressive. So like I said, you're not. And during COVID on the interstates, when I was driving on the interstates, I'll just say that the top speed and the high end speeds are very impressive, and it handles very impressive during that strange and unusual time in American history when there was anything went on the highways. Because like I said, I never missed a day of work during COVID. There was days on the interstate when it was me and 3 other cars for miles and out, you know, and the speeds on there, I just joked it was the American Autobahn then. It was just a strange time. But yeah, it's a good car. The values may be going up, but it's still a good time to get one.